Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back, people, to Jason Gooner TV. It is your host, Jason Gooner, and tonight we are back to discuss another week of the EPL. It is week 10, the review show, people. And tonight we're going to break down all the games, talk about what happened in the games, talk about the tactics, team news, things that we learned from this weekend, discuss where all our various teams are in the table, of course. And of course, we have the weekly predictions table going to be revealed. So we're going to have a champion and definitely going to have, sadly, a donkey of the week for one of you unlucky ones out there. So if you guys took part this week, just stay tuned for the reveal of the results of the picks for week number 10, people. Week number 10 is in the books. And yeah, as is customary when we start the show, people, and if you're catching this on the replay, please, in the comments, please put a 3 if your team indeed secured 3 points this week. So, as is customary and has been the norm lately, I'm going to put my 3 in the comment section, people. 3 points for the Gunners. Yes, we went to Turf Moor and was able to get all 3 points. We will discuss that game and all the others in detail tonight on the show, people. Yeah, man. But of course, we are about 5 days after the hurricane that ravaged the place I love more than anywhere in the world, Jamaica. And people, if you have the means, the ways, if you have the time, please give something to the relief efforts in Jamaica. There are more than enough ways. People just need the basics. So if you can send basics, please do so. Like I said, if you have the time to go and give yourself to the cause, do that as well. Because all the help they can get is needed. Believe me. Some really, really, really sad stories coming out. People have lost everything. Whole towns cut off from the rest of Jamaica. So yeah, it's some dire situations for some people out there. So prayers in abundance, and if you have more than that to give, please consider it. Consider finding out the ways to do so. Yeah, man, the people really, really need the help. All right, so look, in the EPL this week, it was quite a bit of things going on. Players falling out with their managers, wondering if it's a crisis settings. We have United looking like their super fan that wasn't going to cut his hair until 5 wins straight was getting really close, and they fell short, only able to get a point on the weekend. Liverpool right in the ship, beating Aston Villa 2-0, courtesy of some bonehead plays by Emi Martinez, or a bonehead play, I should say. Um, yeah, and Manchester City kind of, lurking in the shadows, getting another victory, beating, what was a very, very hot and informed Bournemouth team, and, um, you know, doing so comfortably as well. So, look, all those storylines and more tonight on the show. And you don't know, I tried some out last week where typically I would go in chronological order of the games, but I said I was going to switch it up and maybe just have my own order of the games, just based on maybe league standing and the importance of the game, or whether it was a lot of talking points in it or it was a great game. And I think I'm going to continue in that vein this week, where I just kind of not necessarily go through the games in chronological order, but just kind of just make up a nice series of games and just go that way. You know what I mean? So with that said, the first game I want to talk about today is a game that took place on Saturday, and that was between um, Forest and Manchester United. So that's the first game I want to talk about today. 2-2 this one ended. United took the lead to Casemiro, popping up with goals left, right, and center of late, and a quick two goals in quick succession in the second half. Morgan Gibbs White and Savona getting those goals before a brilliant strike by Amad Diallo made the points get shared at the City Ground in London. This game right here, like I said, coming into it, Nottingham Forest were, struggling mightily. Apart from that win in Europe, they hadn't won a game in the league in time. And yeah, they came into this one, really needing some kind of result. Manchester United, maybe not needing a result, but with their 3 wins in succession, they were feeling confident and they didn't want, Forest's poor run of form to end on their watch. And they were well on their way to that when they were able to score through Casemiro in that first half. But I don't know what was said by Sean Dyche at halftime to these players. But trust me, they came out in that second half really and truly ready to go, and they got 2 goals in quick fire succession. And again, just for me, it's the problem I think Manchester United is going to have. For one, there was a feeling like the goalkeeper could have been solved. And I'm not saying that Lamens can't solve it, but I think, his last few performances, I would say, kind of showing why, his signing, even though the initial signs were good, they just remind us that, it's not like they went out and got one of the best goalkeepers or anything like that. This is a guy that definitely shows a lot of promise, but I don't think he's quite the finished article. And I think some of his performances, like last few games, would kind of show that. So the United fans into those temper. I think what happened too, it was just a keeper that was better clearly than Onana and Binder, who they had seen more recently. So yeah, it makes perfect sense that they would be so excited when they saw Lamens play the first few games. But like I said, I mean, it wasn't all great in the beginning, and I think people were just kind of ecstatic that they had a different goalkeeper, right? But again, that back line, right now, they're without Harry Maguire, Lisandro Martinez back in training. Harry Maguire was on the bench, but I don't think he was really fit enough to come on the pitch. And I just feel like Luke Shaw, De Ligt, Euro, serviceable, but is that the kind of defense that's really gonna hold teams off for the entire game? Then when you factor in, I think on that right hand side, Diallo, great going forward. Don't know how much he really gives you in a defensive sense in that position. And I just feel like certain teams will find them out if Diallo is going to be the plan with Mbuemo. But it looks great going forward, like I said. But I still feel like, that middle is jello. Casemiro, Bruno. Again, very good on the ball. I think they help them attacking wise. But yeah, they can be got at in that midfield area. Cunha, I thought, had a really good game. Mbuemo was good, but didn't really influence it quite as much as Cunha. And Sesko, yeah, I don't know. Like, I need to really find out from United fans, like, how are feeling about Sesko? Man, you owe Pristine an apology. Villa let us down, for real. I really do. The man said me I overanalyze the thing, The man predict the 2-0 perfectly and mash up everybody. Big up yourself, Skull. Bless up gigs in the building. Yo, the man them who side win just dropping the trees in the comments same time. Yeah, man. But Forest and United, this one ended 2-2. I don't think anybody predicted this one to end. Oh, actually, no, I lie. Fitzroy Grizzle predicted the 2-2. Everybody else, I think only one other person, Mass had a draw. Everybody else picked either Forest or United to win. So yeah, this was a good differential for anybody that picked. There was only 2 out of all the people that played the game this week, the prediction game, that went for the draw in this game. So yeah, look, Sean Dyche, like I said, halftime they came out, played much better coming out of that halftime team talk. And yeah, they really could have gotten maybe even another goal in that little spell, but Manchester United, I thought, ended off the game the better team. And I think in the end, when you look at the balance of play overall, a draw was probably, fair from the football gods. Forest, I think their spell when they were on top, they had slightly better opportunities. But you see the shots really even on the day 18-17. No big chances registered to United, 1 to Nottingham Forest. United did have more of the football, more passes attempted, more passes completed. But the shots on target did favor Manchester United 7-3. Um, Touches in the box though, 7 more for Forest. So yeah, there's different metrics here, but you can see the game was pretty even. Entry 63-57 in favor of United. But yeah, this was a good game of football. United did have more of the football, like I said. But I think both teams will look back and probably say a draw was a fair representation of how the game went. Um, but yeah, I just want to know from United fans like Sesko, how you feeling? Where what? How many games is he into his United career? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So he's played 11 games for Manu. And I think he has 2 goals. Yeah, 2 goals and an assist in 10 appearances in the league. I think he played the Grimsby game as well, didn't score, didn't assist there. So 11 games, 11 games total, 2 goals, 1 assist. Um, yeah, I mean he had those. I think the Chelsea game he was decent, and then he had 3 decent games. I thought the Brentford game, Sunderland, and Liverpool, and I think it's been kind of back down again. The Brighton game he was a little more quiet, and then this particular game I thought but he did struggle a bit. He did struggle a bit in this game. You see, he did play the entire game. But yeah, I just wondering how United fans feeling. I do think like you can see that there's a player there, but you can see that you definitely need to have some patience with him as well. And I just don't know if that's gonna cut it. But let's see. Still early days. 11 games is really not enough to make a full judgment on a player, I don't think. But you can start to, see some things that you might see more frequently in his game, and you can give a better evaluation of him after the 11 games. I don't think you should write him off or praise him too much now. But Sesko, I think, does need to start looking a bit better in terms of his form and how he's looking on the pitch. Because I think there's enough other storylines right now with strikers to where Sesko maybe isn't the first name that comes up. When you're talking about, was this player the right decision in terms of the money spent and everything. But I think if this form that we have seen in the last few games continues, I think you'll start to hear people mention his name, when they're talking about the Verts of the world. And I think to a lesser extent, the last couple of weeks, Yucker is, Isak, any player that made a big money move this summer, the scrutiny is obviously going to be bigger. So I'm just wondering, like from me as a Gunner fan looking on, I'm wondering how the United Massive them feel about Sesko and how he started life at United. Bless up Africans, what go on? Boy, every season you avoid the inevitable, but it's gonna be rough this year for you to do that. Trust me. Seems like Holland did plan to take advantage of Bournemouth Highline this week. Boy, it was suicidal, believe me. I know the man them decide to put them line where they put it. That was a madness still. That was a madness. But yeah, Sean Dyche, what do you think? Nottingham Forest, Sean Dyche, we mentioned it when he got the job. He looks like the type of manager that these players, how they played last year, Sean Dyche would have set up the team way more like how Nuno would. Obviously, there are going to be little differences based on between him and Nuno, but I think the foundation of how Sean Dyche plays would have looked more like Nuno's, especially when you compare it to like a my boy, the name that just get fired, and Postecoglou, completely opposite. I think strategy and philosophy. So based on them having a lot of the same defensive players, um, it's only right that I think they're going to be able to get more results under a Daesh style with this personnel than say a more expansive like Postecoglou style of play. So I do think that eventually Nottingham Forest have enough in the attacking areas and in midfield to where if they keep that solid foundation, that the players themselves individually start to play a bit better. Namely the goalkeeper, especially. I think he has really had a dip in what we saw from him to what we're seeing of late. He needs to get back on that level that he showed last year. Um, but yeah, I feel like Nottingham Forest will, in the end this season, I think Nottingham Forest will definitely stay up. I think they have enough. It's not far gone or anything. So I just feel like Forest in the end, they have enough in the attacking areas to where they should be safe this season. Now, Africans team, that's another story. But yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be okay. Douglas Luiz did have to come off early, which is kind of a shame because he was forming a nice partnership in the midfield with Anderson. Um, and Anderson just continues to be solid, consistent, giving you 7 out of 10 every week, pretty much. And definitely trying to like solidify his place in that English national team, getting a call up the last time with Tuchel and doing well. So Morgan Gibbs White has kind of been cool off in terms of the goals and assists this season so far, but he's another player that I think the style that has been implemented by Daesh, he looks to be in a more similar role to what he would have been playing under Nuno, and maybe we'll see a better a better end result from him this season based on the or better than what we've seen so far under the previous manager, who, at times it looked like Morgan Gibbs White was like there was no spot for him based on how the manager wanted to play. But this manager, it's getting him the ball in those pockets that you see him wanting to create and create havoc for the other team. So again, I just feel like everything all the way around the board, Sean Dyche is just a better fit for how this team is built currently. But yeah, they have some players out, and I think that will help them. Chris Wood, who scored all the goals last year, he's out right now. Ola Aina, who I think was, um, you know, is an arguable shout for team of the season last year for his role at right back. He's been out for extended period. That hasn't helped their team overall. So, a couple of people to come back hopefully, and with the new manager, with a philosophy that I think fits more with the player personnel. Yeah, I feel like they'll be okay in the long run. But to all, Man United couldn't quite get to the 5 wins in a row. So to that brother that have him here not cut, boy, I have to start the next five, my boy. Man, them never reached the 5. Yo, Float, big up yourself. Yeah, man, big up to Float Management in the building. Bless up to Joseph Brown as well. Yeah, man, membership in the building. Big up yourself, boss. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hope all is well with you. He's world traveling. So where are you this week now? Always on the go, like Movado. All right, so that was Forest and Manu. Now the next game we want to talk about is another game. Well, this game actually took place on Sunday, and this game was at the Etihad in Manchester, and it would have been Manchester City, sorry, hosting Bournemouth, the Cherries. And going into this game, Bournemouth would have been in second place, and Man City would have been in eighth place. Now, after Man City won the game 3-1, goals courtesy of a brace from Haaland scoring again, and Nico O'Reilly in the second half, cancelling out Tyler Adams' 25th minute strike from a Donnarumma mistake, really. That 3-1 victory catapulted them all the way up the table. And we'll talk about where they are once we get to the close of the games. I'll bring up the table so you can see. But yeah, man, they made a big jump from these 3 points. And, you know, the takeaways from this game for me is just Manchester City finding a way to really control the game, especially in the first half. You know, the second half, once third goal was scored, I do feel like they kind of put it in neutral and just tried to coast all the way home. But, you know, the measure of the domination in that first half at spells was like kind of vintage City, especially in that first half, like towards the end of the first half. It was wave after wave after wave, and you know, it just looked like it would never stop. You know, to be honest, Haaland did get a first half brace, but should have had a hat trick. Doku was wreaking havoc, whether it was on the left, central, and that's one thing. You know, this formation, I'm glad that they have shown it this way, because it really has been a bit of a shift in focus by Pep this season with these two players that play well previously wide of Haaland. Now I think they do play kind of that more central inside forward. And they just have license to drift wide if necessary, drift central if necessary. Sometimes Shirky's left of Doku and vice versa. So I think the freedom of the two players playing off of Haaland is one major tactical tweak that I've seen from Pep this season. Maybe it's the other Pep that convinced him to do this, but Pep Lenders, that is, who used to be with Jurgen Klopp before. I know he's on Pep staff this season. But yeah, I think Shirky, you know, quiet 6.7 in the ratings, but it was the moments, it was the two moments that really opened the game up. The first one, you know, high line from Bournemouth, they had a slight little period of possession, and they just really and truly got sucked out of position by really Haaland. Haaland dropped back deep to kind of win an aerial challenge, flick the ball back, and Diakite just got caught ball watching way past the half line. By that point, you know, Shirky had kind of drifted towards the half line and was being man marked. And the ball came to him in the air. Haaland, who had laid the pass off in the sequence, just made a dart towards the half line, and Shirky, you know, with the presence of mind, not to take a touch, not to do anything, just head it into Haaland's path, because once he gets it off quickly, Haaland was on his own side at that time. So even if he's behind everybody, he's still on side. So, you know, little things, it looks so simple, but sometimes somebody will get that pass there and take a touch first and then lob it over. And then that is the difference between it being clearly onside or offside. The second goal, same thing. You know, didn't really have an extended look at where he wanted to play the ball, but just knew that Haaland was making that peeling run. So the main thing was for him to find the correct weight on the pass, which when you're a technician like him, you know, it's easy for him to find that weight of pass, right? So look, the Shirky Haaland Doku, that combination right there, is one that the league hadn't really seen before this day, I don't think. If I'm mistaken, let me know. But yeah, this is potentially problems because basically what this did, like I said, Shirky for the most part wouldn't really drift wide to the right hand side. For the most part, did have some touches out there, but especially when he got closer to the 18-yard box, he would always find himself a little more central or inside rightish. Now, Doku was a little bit different. If you notice, when he's getting into the attacking third, he's still taking his touches wide, right? And the main reason for that is the width is being provided on this right side by Bernardo Silva and Mateus Nunes. So once they get into the final third, that width on this right side not being provided by Shirky, and he gets to occupy a much more central area when he gets into the final third, which is where you want Shirky. Because with him using the ability to use left and right and the vision, you don't want him stuck on the wing all game. So Pepper's found a way in the build-up phase to have Shirky not have to worry about the middle with the big people kicking him down. Start wide, and as you get into the final third, you can drift more and more central. So that's one thing I don't think Pep gets, because the knock on Pep obviously is, every team you ever have ready made and built and this and that. But I think where Pep don't get enough credit as a manager too is like he's done it at City a few times where he gets a certain, like it happened with Haaland. He got Haaland in, and at first he didn't really change anything. He just plugged Haaland into the situation that's going on. And because there was so much great talent around him, and because the system worked so well, he input the striker into it, and of course he broke every record ever for a single season that year. Now, fast forward now, I think Haaland has improved a bit with his link-up play. That has to be said. I think it's not as if it don't look like him have decent enough touch and all these things. I think he's improved all those things. But I think the difference is Pep in years past, I don't think would have Doku and Shirky playing the type of role that they're playing. He would have just had the two wingers and he would have stuck to the tried and trusted way. But him being able to adapt and switch up a little bit, I think is important because it was getting to a point where maybe it was getting a little stale. And I'm seeing him do things differently this year to the point of maybe he thinks that it was getting a little bit stale as well. And people might have caught on to everything they're trying to do. But this is a whole different set of questions he's asking with the way they're set up now. And I think what's going to be interesting to watch moving forward is it that certain personnel going to trigger this? So like when Shirky play, him can't really have him hugging touchline all the way down the flank because he's not going to give you everything that he can give you from there. Doku obviously is comfortable in either position because as you can see from the heat map, he collects it centrally, he collects it wide, he even goes all the way to the right side. So a lot more fluidity, I would say, in movement. I think Thierry Henry always spoke about it when he got to Barcelona. He used to get cussed out a lot because he's wanting to go inside and find the game and go score. And Pep keeps telling him, listen, when you get to way down there, that's when you can start to think about coming off this touchline. So it's different philosophies, and that's the intriguing thing about football, right? A lot of different ways to get something done. But again, I think Pep needs to be applauded for not being so rigid in his start process that he can make some tactical tweaks I think because that's one of the principles I haven't really seen him change is like I'm gonna have two wingers, and yes, them can cut in when them get the ball and try to beat people, but before them receive the ball, that is them I want stretching the pitch wide, and they aren't necessarily the ones doing that now. So big ups to Pep for having a bit of switch up in him thing. Bournemouth, Iraola, I think he'll probably look back and be a bit disappointed. I think he will think that his team can do much better than what they put on the pitch. But yeah, the game could have been different because that 3-0, that 3-1 goal, which in a sense kind of killed off the tie, even though it's just a two-goal lead. I thought City was just always in keeping them at arm's length in the second half. But yeah, Jimenez kind of hobbled along before O'Reilly scored, and it really put Bournemouth under pressure. Um, but yeah, I don't think Bournemouth should look at this and say, "Oh, it's all over now." They lost to City at the Etihad. Nothing to really be so vexed about. But I do think the only thing that will upset him is he'll know in his heart that the team could have gave a much better performance based on what their performances this season so far have been. I think Semenyo was quiet, Tavernier was quiet, Krupi, was quiet for the most part. Um, and yeah, they just didn't really have that attacking threat. And most of those players, yeah, they just didn't have their best games. Didn't have their best games. Tyler Adams did have to come off with an injury, which is not good news for Bournemouth. He's been solid in that midfield this season so far. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the Man City versus Bournemouth game. Haaland is a machine. Pep has some adaptability this season with how the players playing closest to Haaland have a lot more just fluid movements and creativity in their movements. It's not as rigid. This one stay left touchline, this one stay right touchline. No, it's a much more hybrid like setup where these two players, Doku and Shirky, really have license to move all about that attacking area. Um, so yeah, interesting one. Donnarumma, the knock on him has always been for his size and how big he is. Why isn't he more dominant aerially and crosses? And while I think Adams got away with a bit of gamesmanship, or was it Adams? No, it was Brooks. Got away with a bit of gamesmanship, kind of holding his arm before the ball came in and everything. Um, I just feel like he still should have done better with what he attempted. He punched and basically it was an assist to Adams to the stopping. And shockingly, that was Adams' first goal in English football ever in his life. I couldn't believe that when the man said that. The man said, "Oh, it's the first time the man scored ever in a life, in England. Shouldn't say in a life, but in England since he been there." Which was surprising. I never think that would have been the case. But yeah, Erling Haaland, another man of the match. Can't take them from him right now. Four big chance City create to one. You see the expected goals, so they definitely, deserve the win, must be said. 8 shots on target to 5. They missed two big chance and still win 3-1. Much more touches in the box for City. But the final third entry is dead even, almost 55-53 in favor of Bournemouth. So like I said, Bournemouth did the most with the possession they had, I thought. But yeah, it wasn't good enough. And Manchester City, like I said, kind of quietly rolling along, and everybody talking about Liverpool collapse and when will Arsenal collapse and Man U resurgence all of a sudden. But I think Man City just kind of flying under the radar, racking up the wins now. And I think they're getting their squad back fit. Just Kusanov was a doubt, and that's the entire first team squad there. So Nouri got some minutes. I mean, barely any, but still. Stones and Ake fit. Rico Lewis fit. Rodri fit enough to come on late. Marmouche is back. Savinho back from earlier injury. So look, they have a good thing in terms of you know that they know how to do it, right? Even though some of these players might be different from some of the teams that would have made those runs, there's still enough there in the dressing room plus Pep, that that they're poised, and they're not gonna get too excited about much right now. And those are the most dangerous set of teams, the ones that you know can think and plan ahead and not so worried about today. Those are the ones that typically last throughout the season. So look, Manchester City, a nice cushion right now, but yeah, I could see City definitely going on a decent run, because I do think Pep has figured out something with this new system. Let's see if the coach is playing against him can figure it out fast enough. All right, so that is the second game we were talking about this week, and that was Man City 3-1 over Bournemouth. We love that game particularly because I was the only person to guess a 3-1 Man City win. So yeah, wonderful there. I got an extra little bonus for that one. The next game we're gonna talk about, people, is a game that took place on Saturday as well. And this was Tottenham and Chelsea from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. And Chelsea just dealing with Tottenham like their stepchildren at this point. I don't think Tottenham has beaten them in the last 18 fixtures or something like that. But João Pedro back on the score sheet. But João Pedro should just give the goal, the assist, the everything to Moise Caicedo, because he won. I think he won He won the ball two separate times before laying it off to Pedro, who finished. But yeah, let's start. Before I get into Chelsea. Let's start with Spurs. Now, Spurs, Thomas Frank did start out and still has been a decent start to the season for them. Let's just get that out there first. But I do think that at some point, Vicario needs to stop getting man of the match for Spurs. So many games this year, this man is the man of the match. So either the attackers just not doing enough, or yeah, I'm not even sure. Like what? Not even sure what is going on. But I do know they have a lot of injuries. So let's not act like that's not happening. So who is out? Kulusevski is out. James Madison, Dragosine, Ben Davis, Yves Bissouma, Dominic Solanke, Takai Doubtful, and Archie Gray. Now, of all those names, because that's a lot of names, Kulusevski, Madison, Bissouma, Solanke, I would say those guys are like potential starters, right? Don't think Dragosine cracks the lineup, especially with Danzo there as well. But yeah, Tottenham Chelsea, this one ended 1-0 to Chelsea. João Pedro with the goal. But to be honest, it could have been much more. Could have been much more. Chelsea wasteful on the day. Let's take a look at the stats. You see the expected goals, 0.10. So I would venture to say that that is top 3 lowest expected goals for any home team so far this year. I'm tempted. 6 big chances created by Chelsea. So there you go. It was just a day of misses. Pure misses all around. All around. Everybody missing the goal. Look at that shot mark, man. About 1,000 people taking shots. Okay. 9 shots on target to 1. 3 shots all game for Spurs. Terrible. Man, they missed 5 big chances. Yeah, so Spurs, man. Because, maybe Thomas Frank was always in a team at Brentford that could just play on the counter, play on the break. And it's like he's trying to do something similar with Spurs, but I think Spurs do need to find a better balance, between some of the suicidal stuff Andrew's doing and some of the ultra conservative stuff I see Thomas Frank doing at Spurs. They need to find that balance. Right now, it's heavily tilted towards, all right, let's just keep it solid, and we can work off scraps up front, but let's try to score off the scraps or whatever. So yeah, Vicario, player of the match for them. That just tell you everything you need to know. At home, your goalkeeper should not be the player of the match. Should be somebody out in the pitch doing something that would let them get the higher rating. Chelsea, I guess the big scare for them is Neto. How serious is the injury to Neto? I guess we'll know more once we get in tomorrow and Wednesday for the Champions League this week. And before we head out, people, we're gonna show you some of the Champions League games. Trying to think Wednesday. Wednesday I might be able to do a watch along for one of the games Wednesday. But I don't want to say yes for certain just yet. But I know Arsenal play tomorrow. I won't be in the studio for that, sadly. So can't live stream the Arsenal game tomorrow. Um, so yeah, Chelsea, big question. Neto, what's his fitness looking like? You saw when he came off. Estevao came on for him. Gittins came on for Garnacho earlier in the game. But yeah, I think Neto is probably the one that they would least want to pick up anything. They don't want anybody to, if possible. But if somebody were to him being the one, I don't think is Mariska's favorite, or not his favorite. But I don't think that's the best case scenario for him. But yeah, basically, Tottenham is Chelsea's bitch. There's no other way I can put it. Them just have a voodoo upon them, brother. And then when the game was over, basically a lot of footage had come out of Thomas Frank, but asking or well, I don't. Well, at this point, it must have been asking because it looks like he was motioning into the fans and telling Spence to go over there and clap and thing, and Spence kind of shake him head and say, "No, I'm not do that," or whatever him say. And then Van de Ven had a similar reaction. Now, Van de Ven didn't really talk to the coach directly, but him kind of walk side of Spence. I'm sure him see what going. But yeah, for whatever reason, they did not want to go and salute the fans, probably because they were booing them during the game. But I mean, that's part and parcel of it, isn't it? Like you're going to get people are gonna call you out for your crap if you do crap. That's how life go. That's how life go. You can't change that. Can't change that at all, brother. But yeah, so Berval got an injury as well. Simmons had to come on for him. And by the 73rd minute, he was out again. I think Xavi Simons is another one that is really causing some serious debates and some serious opinions going around. Um, yeah, Xavi Simons was he the right man? Was he the right man to come in to this role? I mean, the way that the team is set up on the screen here, that left side where Berval is makes perfect sense, but sometimes they play more of a 4-3-3, and I've seen them playing, like a left eight, or he just plays wide on the left or wide on the right. So, um, look, I think Thomas Frank just needs to realize that you're not at Brentford anymore, so you don't need to be so reliant on just counters and breaks. Let the players play. Let they have quality. Let them play. So yeah, maybe I don't know if it's a huge deal that Spence kind of blow off the coach to go and salute the fans and everything. But it just didn't look good with the optics. The optics don't look good. Let's just put it that way. So key takeaways: Thomas Frank need to realize that he's at a bigger club. Can't really say Tottenham is a big club, but he's at a bigger club than what he was at before. Um, so just remember that. And is the João Pedro goal signs of more to forward, or really and truly when you check it, is Caicedo just give him a tap in for score? Because after that, he had two missed chances, two big missed chances as well. So yeah, I don't know, man. Does Pedro start to bang in the goals again like how it was in Club World Cup and earlier in the season? Or was this goal just an outlier right now? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, people. Let me know. Colomboani, he looked like a shell of himself. But yeah, that was the big talking point, man. Is Thomas Frank losing the dressing room? Man, them overreacting. I mean, obviously emotions are run, and for whatever reason, the man never depend that today. So just film choice that. All right, Arsenal. I've waited how long? About an hour before we start talking about Arsenal. But now is the time, people. Now is the time. All right, so Arsenal won this one 2-0. Declan Rice and Yoker is getting on the score sheet. Um, you know, big takeaways from the game. Another clean sheet. So we had what 6 games in October, never conceded a goal, 6 clean sheets. We're now into November, and the first game we start out with another clean sheet. Um, Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, Calafiori, Raya. Brilliant, brilliant work. Include Zubimendi, Rice, Eze in that took Eze put in a lot of work in the midfield yesterday as well. Or wait, no, this would have been on Saturday, 2 days ago. Up front was Saka, Gyökeres, and Trossard. Trossard, in that first half, was doing some mad things. Really good through passes, good combining with Kala, Gyökeres, Rice, whoever really got near to him, he was combining, breaking the line. Kyle Walker was tired of him, twisting him up from time to time. It was really bad for Walker, that is. But yeah, big takeaway from the game from Arsenal perspective. Gyökeres did have to come off in the 45th or at halftime, and Marino came on to play striker, but also Zubimendi felt something and had to come off. So I'll start with Zubimendi first. Now, Zubimendi was always suspended for the trip to Prague, and that's why I did figure there was something wrong when he came off, because I would think that Norgard is going to start today and probably, barring injury, he'll probably play the majority, if not all, of the 90 minutes. So, maybe his intention was never to bring on Norgard and just save him, but we'll never know. He felt something, get him off the pitch. That's the best thing to do. Now, Yoker is the same thing. He felt something. The coach was very, very coy about it. Didn't really say much of what's really happening or what's going to happen. But all we were told was that he didn't travel to the Czech Republic for the game, and he also he didn't travel to the Czech Republic, and he also is awaiting some more scans. So we don't know how serious it is. So it can if it's just a strain, we're talking 1 to 2 weeks, maybe even healing time to play on the weekend. But if it is a grade 1 of any kind, then obviously you're looking at the 2 to 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks. So it's really contingent upon how the so hold on there. Next game done. Next win 119, 102. All right, wonderful. Yeah, where was I? Gyökeres. Yeah, so never travel, worrying signs. Just from nothing concrete, but just knowing what I know, 1 week to 4 weeks. That's what we are looking right now. I don't expect it to be any higher than a grade 1 if it is some kind of strain, only because, after the game, he's walking on his own devices, didn't look to be in any physical pain. So I just thought it was just maybe a load management thing as well, even though, it came out that he did have a little setback injury-wise. He was feeling something, but I just feel like that feel something is just gonna be where the finish, where Arteta gonna put him foot down this season, I think, because them never even think twice. They must take him off halftime. Same with Zubimendi. Never even give him a chance for run it off or run it and see how it feel. No, get him off. Put on somebody fresh, but not think about none of them things. So Gyökeres played some good football. Got his goal. It was a little scrappy goal from a corner. Gabriel with a nice layoff after Declan Rice, another perfect back post corner. And the flick on by, well, not flick on, but the flick back with his feet by Gabriel. It landed back right by his foot. Beautiful cushion side foot pass, and then Gyökeres couldn't miss from inside the six with his head. So that made it 1-0. And then Arsenal were all over them. Bukayo Saka 1v1 twice. Well, the second one, it was a little wide on his right foot, so I get it. But the first one, courtesy of Gyökeres again, took a chest control, swivel pivot, and then pass it through. The defender thought he could reach it, but couldn't quite get to it. And then you have Saka on his left foot running at goal, couldn't get it around Dubravka. So, really and truly, Saka was disappointing, I thought, in the game. And I think Tuchel was talking about this the other day. He said, for someone, for how good he is, does he really score and assist enough? And I think at times it looked like he was listening to what Tuchel was saying, because in this game, he had some selfish plays where he could have easily slot in somebody for an easier chance, but him take on the shot. And I think that's just him wanting to get on the score sheet. It's been a few games for him. How long has it been actually? I think he scored in the EFL Cup. Yeah, so the EFL Cup, the game before he did score, so I can't really say that. But when it comes on to Arsenal, he hasn't scored since the 4th of October, and that was from the penalty spot against West Ham. We're talking in the league or Champions League for that matter. So yeah, he's had back-to-back games where he scored in that West Ham game, and he scored in the Champions League against Olympiacos. And not since, and before that penalty against West Ham in the league, Premier League, that is, he hasn't scored since August 23rd. So, not really prolific so far this season. Two goals, no assists in 8 games played in the league. So, yeah, it's not the most convincing stats, but Saka is a great baller. You know these things. But yeah, it's true, man. He needs to have better end product. Trossard, I don't know what game these people watching on, but how you get a 6.4 is just incredible. Maybe a missed chances. No, he created one big chance. I don't remember any big chance he missed. I mean, him cut it back and it was saved off the line. Seriously, where? How this man so low? Passing. But he might try like the last pass. Yeah, but 2-0 to the Gunners, man. Burnley, they huffed and they puffed. They tried. Well, I can't even say they huffed and they puffed. They just tried. And Edwards came on late, but he came the closest for Burnley when he hit the post with a wicked free kick. But yeah, main talking points and takeaways from this one, I would say the Zubimendi and Gyökeres issues. What's going on. I think based on what the coach said in the press conference today, I believe it was as a preview for the game tomorrow. Basically, he was saying Zubimendi obviously can't go to Slavia, so it's really no need to, no need for discussion there. But he does feel like he should be okay for the weekend. And then Gyökeres is the one that everybody's, watching, because Havertz, it was said, wouldn't be back until the international break. We know we have Marino there, but Zubimendi can't play in midfield tomorrow. Rice on 2 yellows, which means a third would make him miss Bayern game. So some tough decisions to be made tomorrow as far as that team. Me personally, I would start Raya in goal. I would start Ben White. I would start Mosquera. I would start Hincapie. I would start Miles Lewis. Actually, lie. I would play Ben White, Mosquera, Gabriel, um, Hincapie at left back. I would play Norgard in midfield with Lewis Skelly on the left and one area on the right. Right. I would play Max Dowman, Merino, and between Eza and Trossard, I'd probably play Eze off the left. Yeah, that me and the people. Miles Lewis Skelly in a midfield. How you mean? But Burnley, as I say, Edwards came the closest. I don't think they were completely dominated, but they didn't really do much. 0.42, so better than Tottenham expected goals, but nothing great. A full two more expected goals for Arsenal. 4 big chances created. You see the shot on target, none again for Burnley. So another game, no shot on target for the opponent for Arsenal. Missed 2 big chance as usual. They missed the 1 big chance them get. And you see the entries 57 to 50 in favor of Burnley, interestingly enough. All right. Um, but yeah, Arsenal march along. I think that's what 5 in a row in the Prem. It can't be so many. It can't be 5. It can't be 5. It cannot be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It is 5. Damn. Yeah, so 5 wins on the bounce now for the Gunners. You love to see it. Things we love to see, you know? Things we love to see. I thought Ezra played wicked in the first half, paid off in the second. But Rice, men against boys, man, he was immense. Get man, break up everything. Anytime it looked like a fire was there, put it out. And of course, he had the quality for the second goal. But that pass by Gyökeres across the pitch, brilliant. And then Trossard, how many times we seen that? You know, he gets the ball over there, he does a million tosses and change direction, go back this way, go back that way. And then by the end of it, he plays a 2-yard pass. But so it goes still. But yeah, Arsenal to me, looking machine like. I think, we did score from a corner first again. But I mean, at this point, whoever is upset about that, then I don't understand them, because it's one of the best ways to score a goal, and Arsenal definitely have a plan, and a damn good one, to get goals from those situations. Big up, big up, big up, big up. Hope all is well. Big up in Darren. Yeah, man, we're there, we're there, we're there. Yes, sir. The review. Yeah, man, big up the woman them too. Yo, I don't know I'm to hired one, from where they I can't see her star. I hope she's okay. Should send her a message when the show done and make sure she's good. Because this is not like her to not pop up even for yell up the people, Make sure she good. Make sure she govern. But yeah, Arsenal roll along again, people. Think tomorrow going to be a tough one for us because of some of the injuries and stuff. But we'll see how it goes. Then play tomorrow at 12:45, the early game. So we'll see bright and early what them gonna do. What them depend. What them depend. All right. So next game, people. Next game. We're going to look at big win again for the Gunners. All right. What we wanna talk about yet? All right. Let's go to the first game of the weekend. That was Brighton and Leeds. Well, actually, they were playing same time, but Brighton Leeds 3-0 win. So convincing win at the Amex. We had said before the game, I don't think Leeds travel quite as well. They haven't really had the results away from home. And Brighton definitely put it to them with a 3-0 win, and I think they were decent enough value for it. I thought Leeds had a couple of decent enough spells, but their best spell really came once it got to 3-0, and that's never really that's something you have to contextualize. If that's the only portion of the game where them have anything going, yeah, you have to think that the other team kind of put it in neutral, as I spoke about earlier. So Diego Gomez was able to force his way into the Premier League team with a 4-goal game in the EFL Cup, and he bagged a brace in the Premier League for this one. But Minte, I thought, even though Gomez is going to go with the player of the match, I thought Minte was the best player. I mean, he was so influential. Van Heck was really good as well, to be honest. So the Dutch connection worked out. Verbruggen, I was beating him earlier in the season that, maybe the ex-Brentford keeper should maybe get his spot now. But Verbruggen has turned it around, I would say, the last maybe month or so. So hopefully that continues, because him look like he's going to be the Dutch number one, Van Heck is trying to work his way into that team. Last window, I think he got more and more time, so definitely one they're looking at. But for me, Leeds just didn't put away chances when they got them. I think it killed their confidence. And then once Brighton found the second 2 goals, the two that Gomez scored definitely was all she wrote. But the first goal was so nice, man. Minte play a 2 pass to Vifa run around everybody, cut it back to Welbeck for an easy finish. But the pass from Minte was class, man. Really, really good pass. But yeah, Diego Gomez making a name for himself, the Paraguayan. Of course, he would have come over from Inter, Miami, that is. And yeah, it wasn't cheap. It cost Brighton, 13 mil. But at 22 years of age, you'd have to think that this won't be his last club at all. But yeah, Brighton did it to them, man. Smashed them up, hurt them up, hurt them up, hurt them up. You see the stats? Big gap in expected goals, 3 big chance to 1. Shots on target. Midfield. Final third entries, 50 to 35. All right. Which one of them did the foolishness now? Bogle? Yep, it was Bogle. Jaden Bogle get mash up. So I never. Oh yeah, I do remember now. Couldn't remember what the man do, but I just remember how it go. Alright. Moving right along. Brighton got the job done over Leeds. We'll see what that means to the league standings for them in just a minute. Let's get back to the Prem. Alright, so let's see. Did we talk about Liverpool, Aston Villa yet? No, I don't think we did, All right, so Liverpool back to winning ways at Anfield. Mohamed Salah and Ryan Gravenberch getting the goals there. And Salah was such a gift, man. And Aston Villa really started the better team. They hit the woodwork through Rogers. Another wicked shot from outside the box, just couldn't get it in. And even after that, they had a few decent opportunities, but Liverpool ended a spell of constant dominance and attacking with a bonehead play from Emi Martinez to just give the ball to Salah people. A madness. And that led directly to a goal. Matty Cash, for his troubles, got a 5.8. And this guy gets on. Boy, big up to Taran, BBK Sports. Me I watched him show earlier on, and the man say him don't understand. So I'm say, guess. I would have to guess how this man reach it. But the man does not look like himself. I don't even know what his true self is, but I refuse to believe that that's it. But 2-0 to Liverpool, man. Ekitike had the ball in the net, but somebody was offside, I think. And Salah got the gift, and then second half, Gravenberg got the luck that's required at times. Took a good shot, but the deflection really got out the goalkeeper. So, yeah, Ryan Gravenberg, Mo Salah, back to winning ways. Liverpool 2, Aston Villa nil. Looking at Aston Villa bench, Marlon is an attacking player. Sancho, Matson is kind of, I mean, he can play wing, but he's really a left back. So I'm just looking at like what would have been out there to score because I saw the 5 changes and I'm like, whoa. And Arne Slot, after all of this rotation with the kids playing and everything, on his bench, he only put on Verts, Paikitike, that's it. So yeah, Liverpool. I want to know, is this a start of a run for Liverpool or what? What do you guys think? Because I don't know, I mean, Villa showed me enough in this game to where if Emi Martinez wasn't feeling so generous, this game could have gone either way. Big up David J in the building. Hope all is well, bro. Keeping up with Jamaica most of the time, but I'm here tuned in tonight. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Tonight at EPL, but for the rest of the week, we're going to definitely get into the Reggae Boys watch, because a lot of our players them score this weekend. So I want to make the people them know just in case they're not sure what going. We're going to have an updated depth chart and everything like that, from my eyes. So look out for that this week, David. You don't know. Just turn on the bell notifications. Tomorrow will be rough. Prague will not lie down. No, they won't at all. They will not. They will not lie down. And yeah, before I go, I'm going to definitely give my thoughts on that game tomorrow. Bless up Jagans in the building. Another member just drop and touchdown. Big up yourself, Jagans, every single time. We'll soon get to the reveal for the week. So you don't know. See how you did this week. Is there any updates on Leon Bailey in short? Well, look, my Leon Bailey update would be back on the pitch, back playing. I think he's now up to 4 appearances, I think, for Roma. I think he has 1 start and or maybe 5 appearances total. So 1 start, 4 off the bench appearance. He looks okay. I mean, you don't see that explosion like you would have seen, when he's 100%. But yeah, it's a work in progress right now. I don't think he's fully anywhere close to what Leon Bailey is. But based on what I'm seeing, he'll probably still get called. But I don't know, man. I don't think he'll be able to help us as much as we would want him to. Let's just say that. Hopefully the coach understands if he is gonna pick him that he's limited right now in what he can do and the amount of time he can do it for, at least based on what I'm seeing. Now, I guess what's today? The third in 10 days' time, maybe it's different, but they'll have a Europa League game Thursday and they have another match on the weekend in Serie A. So, no rest for the weary. He'll have to play 2 games if he's fit and available to play 2 games this week again. So yeah, that wasn't so short, but in short, Bailey's still a work in progress in my eyes. But yeah, is this a sign that the ship has been righted and they're sailing straight again to a path of championship? What do you guys think? I'm not fully sold as yet. Um, some of the decisions he made in this game were made for him. No Isak, no Frimpong. The one decision he made that maybe he had a choice about was Andy Robertson back in the starting lineup over Curtis, which I think he had to do at this point. But yeah, only the 1 sub. It's very interesting. Only the 1 sub. Hmm. So let's see how it goes for Liverpool in the Champions League now because Vert's got 13 minutes, so maybe he's gonna start. But then Ekitike don't really have anybody to play over him or for him because he don't have Isak in the squad. Yeah, gonna be interesting to see what kind of squad that Slack put out for the Champions League this week as well, for sure. And Aston Villa, I think they play what, Thursday? But that is it, people. Liverpool victorious again, 2-0. Was it enough to get them back into the top four? We'll find that out in a minute. Now, this game, probably the shock result of the weekend. Not even the maddest of the mad, Red Skull with his selections didn't even pick West Ham to pull this upset. But after going 1-0 down to Jacob Murphy and it was sounding like it might get toxic, there was a big protest plan for after the game. West Ham found something, and Paqueta scored a nice goal from distance. Really think Pope could have do better. Then down the right hand side, I forget which player was it. One Bissaka that put the cross in, and it was ricocheted into for our own goal by Batman. And then Suchek put the icing on the cake in the 97th minute with typical Suchek putting his body on the line type of goal. Um, Slight appeal that they might have kicked it out of Eddie Pope hand, but him but Eddie Pope. The man named Nick Pope hand. But yeah, I think those were more. I don't know what they were trying. They were just hoping with that one because I don't think they believe that they would have got the call. But yeah, the giant German for once didn't score, which was surprising. Didn't get a contribution at all. You see, I think where they lost the game was at times in that midfield. They had the strong midfield in there, but I just don't. I don't know. It didn't quite give them the control that they were looking for. Um, I thought in the second half, Newcastle for long periods was the better team, but I think West Ham at that point, Nuno just said, "Listen, man, let's just hold on to this thing and maybe and they did have the discipline. There was a little stretch, before they got that third insurance goal where it felt like Newcastle might be able to find one. But yeah, the subs that came on, Osula, Harvey Barnes, Jacob Ramsey, Shar, I don't think they did enough, especially Barnes and Osula. Elanga was okay, but thought he could have done better on a few occasions too, with the quality. But yeah, Newcastle just not having a good run in the league, man. It's been tough for them. West Ham won the game, and we'll see if that was enough for them to get out of the relegation zone. Boeing, as usual, 7 out of 10. Man, just literally wake up and say 7. Man, stop everything. Callum Wilson. Tadibo played better. Don't know what took him so long to play decent, but this was the first time I watch him. I say, yo, all right. So there is actually a player there. He had been poor. But yeah, big win for West Ham, man. We'll just have to find out once we bring up the table if that was good enough to get them out of the relegation zone. Newcastle, Eddie Howe, Shar, is he gonna get back into the team or what? Because basically what he did, there was no Trippier, which I think hurt them. They had to start Kraft, who had a nightmare. Thiago moved to the right back slot, and Shar came in for him. But that's like Molasses brother, slow. So yeah, I think Lewis Hall is back, but clearly not fit enough to be playing. Livermento being out, I knew it would be a big issue for them because Trippier is another one that, struggles with injury from time to time. But he wasn't even on the bench and he wasn't listed as ill or injured. So not really sure what the deal was with Trippier on this game and this game day. Need to do some research on that, see if it is indeed an injury or what. But no, congrats to you, my boss. I saw you celebrating hard after the win, and I can't even wrong you because it did feel like, when would West Ham actually win? But I honestly feel like similar to with Daesh ending up at Forest, I think West Ham needed this type of manager just to make sure that defensively they have a good foundation. And I think they found a midfielder that can help them moving forward. He's actually the coach, one of the coach and coaching staff son, Freddie Potts. He did really well in that central area, and it made it, easier for Fernandez and Paqueta to go find space and find the game, maybe get out of some kind of defensive shape. But they knew with Potts in that area, even though he's young, his energy helped him out, and he read the game really well. So it wasn't like he was wasting any of his energy either. So yeah, West Ham. Same thing I was asking about Liverpool. Is this a sign? Is Nuno gonna actually figure out a blueprint now to get results for this team? And for Newcastle, we just need the real Newcastle to stand up when it comes to the Premier League. It's like they just don't have any consistency at all. Let's see. Tottenham, Chelsea, we did that one. West Ham, Newcastle. All right, so I haven't done Crystal Palace and Brentford. This one was Mateta and an own goal from Collins. That own goal looked mad when you see it on the replay as well. But yeah, Crystal Palace, apart from losing to Arsenal, have pretty much done their thing. Um, Mateta with another goal after a slow start this year. Pino and Sar, their usual threatening selves. I think one of the differences in this game, I don't think Mitchell and Munoz were as influential as normal. And big shout out to Reese Nelson. He came on, was very lively. So I think if one thing Keith Andrews learned is that I need to figure out a way to get Reese Nelson more time. Shade and Thiago lasted the entire game but were poor. And he took off the other two that were maybe better on the day. So what do I know? But yeah, I think Crystal Palace, um, for the most part, deserved this win. They were able to keep a clean sheet and had it at 2-0. See the expected goals very, very close. But again, I just feel like Henderson just made some good saves as per usual. All right, Fulham and Wolves. Wolves fans, close your eyes, lock your eye. Don't even listen to this, Africans. Just forget what I'm about to say. But no, it was a struggle for Wolves as usual. 3-0. They did get a red card as well. Agbadu deemed to do a professional foul as the last man, and really couldn't chart that one away either. I think it was the right call from the referee. Sessegnon and Harry Wilson and our own goal from Mosquera in the end. That's how Fulham got their 3 goals. Wilson, welcome back after a short stint injured. Had a good game. In fact, he was the player of the game based on SofaScore rating. Um, but yeah, Fulham getting healthy. Tete back. He had been out for a little while. Anderson back. He had been out for a few games as well. And automatically the team looks a bit more galvanized, more organized. So they definitely were missing the leadership of Anderson around the back. And I think Tete just overall, is just a shade ahead of Timothy Castagna for me, especially when you factor in like the difference in the physical attributes. I don't think Tete is poor on the ball, but I think he's definitely much more of a runner, athlete type player. And I mean that with all respect, Mr. Tete. I think Pereira resigned after this game as well. if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Fulham with a 3-0 win. I don't know when last they said that. But and they're getting players back as well. Muniz came off the bench. As I said, Tete started. Um, yeah, so it's looking, things are looking decent right now for Fulham. Getting healthier. Big result for them. And then the last game was today, Sunderland and Everton. I watched the entirety of the first half. The second half, I couldn't. I got so busy. I did watch the full highlights and stuff. Saw Xhaka get his goal, which was great. He was player of the game. Have him in my fantasy, so I really needed him to do something after benching Caicedo. And he went out and got me 10 points. So thank you very much, Mr. Xhaka. I appreciate it. But yeah, this is how they set up both teams. India is scoring a brilliant individual goal in the first half. When I say brilliant, brilliant. What a finish, what a dribble, everything about it. But the bad news for Everton, arguably him and Grealish, their best players this year so far. I would give him the slight edge even over Grealish. He had to come off injured in the 62nd minute. And there was a Dwight McNeil sighting people. He has been frozen out basically at Everton, I would say. Played some U21 the other day just to kind of keep somewhat fit. But yeah, he got his chance today in the 62nd minute, and I will read up on the reports on that. But good to see that Matt Neal back on the pitch in the Prem. But Barry, between Barry and Beto, I don't believe that neither one of those two don't make one. Trust me. Barry get the easiest goal for finish at the back post after Grealish play a magician type ball. And the man literally put it over the bar from like the sixth. Horrible, man. Horrible. But yeah, Everton and Sunderland share the points at the Stadium of Light. Granit Xhaka, the hero for Sunderland, once again getting the equalizer right after halftime, and they probably could have went on to win it. But a draw maybe still a fair result as well. Still a fair result. Still a fair result. Still a fair result. Look at the entry. Sunderland 80 to 46 for Everton. My gosh. So yeah, Sunderland definitely on the front foot the entire second half. So go back and watch the second half there, because Arsenal play Sunderland next week. So I do my little scouting work, in case Arteta link me, I can give him the game plan of that will get him somewhere. All right, so before we get to the reveal of the standings for the week, big up Pristine in the building. I apologize for your expertise in the Liverpool versus Villa game. You said 2-0, you got it spot on. I said I was over-analyzing, and I over-analyzed myself into picking a damn draw for the game, which wasn't good enough. 7-player out, Arsenal in an injury crisis. Let's see what the corrupt media have to say. Oh, him reaching a prem. Oh, who reaching a prem? Which player? 7 players. Jeez. All right, let me show you guys the table. Because all right, so here goes the table, people. Relegation zone: Wolves, Forest, West Ham. That's the relegation teams right now. Wolves with 3 losses on the bounce now, 8 in total for the season, and 2 draws. And Forest 1 win, 3 draws, and 6 losses for a total of 6 points. But they did draw last week, so they got off the 4-game losing streak. West Ham, only the second win of the season. They're up to 7 points now, but they have 7 losses to go along with those. Burnley, from 10 played, 10 points, and they are in 17th. Leeds in 16th and 11 points. Fulham by way of goal difference and 11 points as well in 15th. But that win got them up to 15th, as I said. They were in 17th before. Everton, 12 points for them. They're in 14th. Newcastle also on 12 points, slightly better goal difference. They're on 13. Brentford, only team on 13 points currently. Bournemouth lost to City. Sorry, not Bournemouth, hear me. Aston Villa couldn't get the win over Liverpool after 4 on the bounce. They look to start a new streak, but they do face Bournemouth this week. That should be another good game. They're on 15 points, minus 1 goal difference, puts them in 11th. Also on 15 points, Brighton is in 10th position, making up the last of the top 10. And they have a plus 2 goal difference, so they're above Aston Villa at the moment. Crystal Palace in 9th, the lone team on 16 points. Then we have Man United, Chelsea, Spurs all on 17 points. Man United 8th, Chelsea 7th, Spurs in 6th. Then in 5th position after in second last week, Bournemouth fell there after their loss. They're on 18 points plus 3 goal difference. Same points as Sunderland in 4th. They are plus 4 on 18 points. And Liverpool in 3rd position now, also on 18 points. Same goal difference as Sunderland, but Liverpool has the tiebreaker of more goals scored than Man City. The only team on 19 points right now. They are plus 12, 4 out of 5 wins. And Arsenal currently 6 points clear, 5 wins on the bounce for Arsenal in the league. And next, they will face a stingy Sunderland team and at the Stadium of Light. So Xhaka, it's always the great thing, I think, is Xhaka scoring first goal today. So it can't be the storyline of Xhaka playing his old club and the first goal for him, new club. No, him score already, so nobody with that. All right. So that is that. Let me now move into the reveal. Let's look at the reveal of who did what this go around. All right, let me full screen myself. All right, drum roll, please. Brrr. And it looks like the winner of week 10 table is Fitzroy Grizzle. So Grizzle. Well done to Grizzle. Grizzle was 7-3 with 3 correct scores. Fitzroy's correct scores was 2-0 Arsenal, 2-2 Forest and United, and the 1-1 Sunderland Everton did it for him as he barely beat out Joseph Brown, also 7-3, but only 2 correct scores. Joseph Brown's correct scores was the 3-0 Brighton over Leeds and the 3-1 Man City over Bournemouth. So he was so close to sharing that trophy or even lifting it himself. Then 4 players tied for 3rd position. Myself, Float Management, Duckland, and Pristine all ended up 6-4 with 1 correct score. I had the 3-1 City. Duckland had the 2-0 Arsenal. Float had the 1-1 Sunderland Everton. And Pristine had the 2-0 Liverpool Aston Villa, funnily enough. All right, people. So that is the reveal for the week 10 champion. Now, sad to say, we must also reveal a donkey of the week, people. So, any guesses? Any guesses? Who was the donkey of the week? Yeah, actually see the person that ended up with this dubious title in the chat. Yeah, so without further ado, people, the donkey of the week for week 10 had the worst selections for the week goes to none other than big friend of the show and fellow Gooner, goes by the name of, oh, false alarm, people. There's no reveal. Why not? All right, here we go again. Donkey of the week, week 10 goes to Red Skull. John Wama Brethren, Red Skull, 4-6. He did get 1 score correct though, but too bad there was no one there to fight with a donkey. He got the 2-0 spot on for Arsenal, but boy, that was not much more after that. And yeah, in a week where there was only one person was 5-5 and one person was 4-6. Everybody else had winning records. Almost everybody who played this week end up 6-4, varying numbers of scores correct. And then there were what 4 7-3s. Hold on there. What have I done? Yo, people, let me show you guys this again. So Red Skull, sorry, you're the donkey of the week. Let me show you guys this again though. So these people, myself and Float Management, we are actually tied for fourth. So let me make this right. In third position outright was actually Mass Sports World with a 7-3 record, but he didn't have any correct scores. So he would have finished in third. And then myself, Float Management, Duckland, Pristine, all tied for fourth. Everybody else was 5-5 for the most part. And then you had Red Skull alone with a losing record for this week. So Red Skull, Ush bro, so it goes sometime. Every now and again, you alone win because you're always picking the upset them. But it just wasn't an upset week. And the one upset when it actually happened when nobody never think, you actually never go for it. So it go, brother. Win some, you lose some. But yeah, that is it. That is it. That's the reveal. So that what happened this week in the predictions. All right, people. But you don't know. There's always next week, people. There's always next week. As Francis telling you down there. Back again next week. It happens sometime. That is it. That is it. You can't have X. Respect for the drum roll, Jagons. Yeah, man. Pristina do him thing from where they, man. When I time them Pristina always then a last, man. But that year, overall, it's supposed to up there. Trust me. Very consistent this season. All right, so you don't know the preview show will be back on what Friday this week. The games should be done Sunday because it's international break, so they usually don't put a game on that Monday. So yeah, Sunday night I should be back for the review for week 11. Then we'll move right into the international week. But yeah, let's first and foremost now show you guys how man's fantasy team did. Our teams did. Let me start out with my draft teams this week. So I'm in a league with Moss Sports World. Big up to Moss. And the way how his league works is it's a head-to-head matchup every week. So this week I faced Hound Dogs, and I ended up winning 58-36 with my team. So I'm gonna show you guys how I got these 58 points. Very good score for a draft league. So Roofs in goal got me 2, O'Reilly, Cucurella, Trufair, and Gehi. So a very strong scoring defense this week. Cunha, Semenyo, Rice, and Trossard, 19 between them. Thank you so much for those 19. And Strand Larson and Isidore blanked this week. Henderson for Roofs would have been ideal, but we'll take it. We'll take the 58 and run. So that win right there got me up to fourth in the table, and I'm only 3 points off the leaders. Moss leading his own league, Jonathan, and big up Miss Melina. Anyway, they are large. All right, so like Yak Work, that's the name of that team. So doing decent in that one. Now these other ones are more traditional, so there's no head-to-head battle each week. You just have a points table and you just base it off of that. So I'm way off the pace in this one, which is crazy because I think I've won this one 3 in a row. But it's not over yet. Only 10 weeks in, so we have plenty of time, but can't let this lead continue to grow. But 48 points is a good week in draft. Roofs again got the start, but nobody on my bench to cuss about. Cucurella on my bench in this one. That's really sad. Mukiele didn't do anything for me today. Munoz and O'Reilly did well. Sarr, Rogers, and Saka were quiet, but Xhaka gave me 10, and Isidore and Mateta. So got some scoring at each level in this one, a little more consistent distribution of the points. 48 points, as I said, is not bad, but honestly, the one thing is that I don't really have that much wiggle room to be getting 48 when man's getting 61 and 55s out here. But 48 still better than the average for the week, so I'll take it. Now the other draft league I'm in, this is like more of my family members plus a few friends. And I'm in third in this one, but it's much tighter, just 9 points behind and 5 points behind second. But I got 46 in this one. Another good score, but as you can see, the worst out of all three teams. Kelleher in goal did not help me. Dubravka was playing Arsenal, so I benched him. Virgil hadn't kept a clean sheet or done anything good in fantasy for weeks, so I kind of stayed away from him against Villa. Hindsight is 2020, but when you have Virgil in your team, you're really not supposed to ever bench him because you never know. He'll probably turn up with a goal even if them don't keep a clean sheet. So I knew I might regret that, but I just had my eggs in that Sunderland basket to keep a clean sheet. In my head, I thought it was going to be 0-0. I was close. It was 1-1. But yeah, if that Sunderland clean sheet came through for me today, I would have had some big points in these draft leagues. But I'll take the points, as I said. 46 is not bad in draft. Gyökeres and Mateta gave me a lot of points, and I had maintained this league. Richards and Timber with the clean sheet was great. So those Virgil was really wasted on my bench. So yeah, those are the three leagues I'm in the draft competition. Now let's take a look at the more traditional fantasy team. And I was able to garner 82 points this week. Before I show you guys the team, this is what I'm doing in the rankings. So I moved up in all the world rankings this week. I'm in the top 2,000 in the United States, which is not bad. Overall, I'm in 53,000 odd. So not terrible. I think there's like a couple million playing this, so that's not that bad when you really think about it. I mean, what, one, two, three, four, five invitational leagues, and in four of the five, I'm in first. In this one, I'm falling to second, and this guy, red, white, and black, is going crazy. 83 points, and they still have a 28-point lead on me, which is not crazy. I have a lot of people chasing me right now, though. 3 points away, 6 points away, 7 points away, 11 points away. So yeah, people really, really chasing right now. But yeah, this is how I got the 82 this week. As I said, I always want to shoot for above the average. So got that. That is great. Pope was in goal, got the save bonus to get the 3 points. Gabriel, hindsight is 2020. But I was feeling bad not captaining him until Haaland played. And I was like, okay, great. Senesi got some contribution points, I'm sure. Yep, two. So I really started him just because of the contribution. I thought he might concede goals, which he did. But I just figured he'd get a lot of contributions there. Munoz didn't get any contributions, but kept a clean sheet. So to get the 6. Saka with a clean sheet got 3. Kudos, very disappointing. I think it's pretty much time to cut losses with him, to be honest. I don't think Tottenham is playing the type of football that gives me much confidence to get any attacking players from their team right now. Semenyo hitting a little bit of a wall, if we're being honest. I mean, last couple game weeks, I think he got some extra points by virtue of defensive contributions one of the week them. But since that run of 13, 5, 7, 18, 4, it's been a little quiet game week 9 and 10. Especially when you look at like the XG totals of some of the games compared to these last few. Yeah, not quite the same. So Semenyo, I think, is too good to just look elsewhere right now, but he's somebody I'm thinking about maybe pivoting from because there's a lot of good value in midfield that I'm not taking advantage of right now. Xhaka is really there for the bargain, him and Caicedo, and my two bargain midfielders were the ones that scored the points, and my premium ones didn't do shit. So yeah, it's just tough. My forward line saved the day for me this week though. Gyökeres 7, Mateta 9, Haaland 26 with his captain boost. Yeah, but 82 points. Good showing, good showing. We'll take it. Let's see, anybody close? So King of Jamaica have a nice, decent sized lead, about 60 odd, 67. Then Sports DTM, big up T got not as big a lead, but still a decent size one. A decent size one. T got their fourth right now. And then Mass Sports World, big up yourself, Mass, wherever you're there. Condolences to the Blue Jays and never quite get it done. But I mean, first in this one as well. Nice little lead there. And then my own league now have a 20-point lead over Cuz, Nick, and Demo in third right now. So that is it, people. That is it. Grimy make a move though. Grizzly with 87 this week. Wow. Raya Gay, Virgil, Kanza, Rice, and Caicedo. That will do it. And Xhaka on your bench too. You're wishing you did play Xhaka too. Oh, I'm the king, man. Oh, this week, mash him up. Party. Well, people, not doing too badly. We'll be back next week to show you how the progress went for game week 11. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It was my pleasure to bring all the news from the EPL for the weekend. I had the reveal of the champs and the donkey for the week. And yeah. Now man, Jaguars play, man. Jaguars was 6-4, but he never get none correct. Stronger next week. That is it. Champion League predictions. All right, yes. Before we go, we'll run through the Champs League game them. Or not all of them, but the ones the ones we care about. All right, so actually we can go through all of them. Napoli, Frankfurt. I will say, and you guys can just drop your comments in the comment section if you want, for sure. Could have should have copy your scores. Yeah, man. Fitzroy take it home this week. I left that on the screen for Fitzroy get a bless up. From Chile missing City Star catch from Umber forward black after international break to start lose for. Don't it? We say you give him till after the break. Him can even stay away for that one last week, yeah, but after the break, him better forward. A true skull. By the time him there, them start lose. All right, so Napoli, Frankfurt tomorrow. I'm gonna go with the team from Naples. I think Napoli gets a much needed 3 points in this competition tomorrow to give them a little breathing room into that, at least the playoff section, right? Slavia Prague and Arsenal. Ooh-wee. I wonder what they think the lineup gonna be. This is the predicted lineup for tomorrow. Ryan goal, I think that's right. I think Skelly will play. Gabriel Saliba, Timber. I don't think them gonna play Timber again. I think I'm gonna start Ben White tomorrow. I could see the rest of it being like that, but I feel like they might play Mosquera. I think Gabriel will start. Then they have Norgard, Rice, and Eze. So they're just like for like. Norgard for Zubimendi. Keep the same rest of the midfield, which could be the case. And then Saka, Marino, and Trossard. But then it's like, what do you do on the weekend? Do you go to Sunderland and rotate a little bit? Like, that's the thing. That's the thing. I just don't know. With all that being said, they have 2 draws and a loss. They did draw with Atalanta last game, so that's not a slouch of a point to get, and I think they did that away from home as well. But yeah, Provod will be the big threat in that midfield area. So we'll have to keep an eye out on him and kind of keep him quiet. But yeah, the goalkeeper has been their best player, so they can be got at. You will get your opportunities. Just how clinical are we on the day? I want to see if Saka start, he needs to score in this game. He needs a goal, I think. Because he's starting to press a little bit in front of goal, which is making him make some of the wrong decisions sometimes. So he just need another goal to go in. I know he scored in the EFL Cup, but he just needs another set of goal. He needs like a few goals actually. I don't know if he'll get them both tomorrow, but I'll take one tomorrow and one on I guess Saturday when we play the Sunderland. Hopefully we can do that for you. But for the Arsenal game, I'm going for Arsenal win. And I'm gonna say 1-0. Bob Marley. Probably set piece as well. Another people gonna hate us after this win again. Atletico Madrid over USG. I think Atletico bounce back at the Palitana and they will get this win. I'll say 4-1. 4-1 Atletico. Bodo Glimt and AS Monaco. I think this game gonna draw. I know Bodo hasn't gotten a win yet, and maybe this would be a good time for them to get it, but I think they're gonna draw. Juventus and Sporting. New manager bounce at Juve right now, so I'm gonna give them the win. I'll say 2-1. 2-1. I say 3-1. 3-1 Juve. Liverpool, Real Madrid. Ooh. I think Madrid gonna turn them over. I think Madrid gonna win the game 2-1. I think Madrid win 2-1. Maybe even 3-2. I'm gonna say 2-1. Olympiacos PSV. I'm gonna say a victory for PSV. Victory for PSV. Not sure the score, but they'll win. PSG Bayern. Ooh wee, what a game. All right. Think Dembele, the Ballon d'Or man, is back. Mm, 2-2 draw. PSG and Bayern. They're gonna draw. Tottenham at home. This match going to draw to 1-1. Tottenham in the mud right now. Pafos Villarreal. I'm gonna say draw as well. Pafos can get a point somehow. Karabag Chelsea. Every time Chelsea go them play, so them win. So I'm gonna say 2-0. 2-0 Chelsea. Ajax Galatasaray. Galatasaray for my money. 2-1. Benfica Leverkusen. I'm gonna say Leverkusen. Actually, I'm gonna say draw. Club Brugge and Barcelona. Barcelona win. Inter and Kairat, Inter win. Man City Dortmund. I'm gonna go with a Man City victory. Newcastle Athletic Club. Draw. And Marseille Atalanta. I'm gonna go with a Marseille win. All right. So that's pretty much it, people. That is it, That is it. 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 Anything else you want to talk about? All right, let me do this too. Cause when I check on the top 5 leagues in a few weeks. So before we cut, I could just show the top 5 league them as well. Get this off the screen real quick, people. Big up again to Fitzroy Grizzle, and hard luck and good luck next time too, my boy Red Skull. All right. So now let me get the other league them up and gunning so they can see what going on in the table of some other leagues. All right, so first let's check in La Liga. Real Madrid 5-point gap now over Barca. Both teams won this weekend, but remember, week before that, Real Madrid toppled Barca. Um, Villarreal in third now, just two behind Barcelona after two wins on the trot. Atletico Madrid, three wins on the bounce. They're 8 points from Madrid, but three from Barcelona now. Betis in fifth at 19 points. It was the Anthony show again this weekend. Espanyol rounding out the top six, 18 points. Getafe, Alaves, Elche, Vallecano, Athletic Club, all within 3 points of seventh position, Getafe. Relegation zone right now, Valencia, just by virtue of goal difference, tied with Mallorca and Levante on 9 points, but Valencia do not want these games to continue and them still be in or even around this relegation zone. Real Oviedo and Girona, Heroes a few seasons ago down in relegation, but one victory for either of those three teams can leapfrog all the way up to 14th, 15th place. So still very, very tight, a long race to go. Nobody really running away with that relegation title, right? Then that's La Liga. Let's move on now to Serie A. What to me is the most competitive league so far in terms of just the points being so tight at the top. Napoli in first on 22 points. Inter 21 points above Milan and Roma, all on 21 points. So that's the top four: Napoli, Inter, Milan, and Roma. When I say Inter Milan and AC Milan and Roma. Fifth place, Bologna and Juventus sixth, both on 18 points, better goal difference for Bologna. Como, Lazio, Udinese, Cremonese are within three of, well, Lazio, Udinese, Como with a win can leapfrog into fifth position. That's how tight this is right now in the table. Cremonese, Atalanta down in 11th, but again, a win for them puts them right up back in the mix. Sassuolo 13, Torino 13. Then right now in the relegation zone, we have Genoa, Verona, and Fiorentina. Say it ain't so, Viola. Say it ain't so. So that is the Serie A race. Like I said, this one don't really see much separation happening because the teams are so close in that area right there above the top of the table. Now let's look at the Bundesliga, people. The Bundesliga. Bayern 9 from 9. A machine right now. 33 goals for, 4 against. Ridiculousness right there by Bayern Munich. Top 6 is Leipzig, Dortmund, Stuttgart, Leverkusen, and Hoffenheim. Cologne and Frankfurt within striking distance of that top 6. And relegation right now, Mainz and Heidenheim and Borussia Mönchengladbach, if the season was to end today, would head to the relegation playoff to see if they would still be in the Bundesliga come next year. That is it. That is it, my people. Jaguars, we can't. Trust me, we can't. So Red Skull said 3-1 to Madrid. For granted, exactly. 2-2 PSG game, yeah. Or a PSG win, fair. Smell? What it smell like? One Barca. Where say Barca drop 4 tomorrow? I could see no. Yeah, man, Jaguars. Let him know, say, we're true to this, we're not new to this. We're not going to lose weight over some games and 5 wins and all these things. We've seen this stuff before, you know. Nobody never said nothing about soup. Go ahead. No soup around here, exactly. No soup, yo, don't make Conrad dry out. Keep your same composure here, sir. Don't make a man dry out and take you out of your character, boss. Don't make nobody dry out and take you out of your character, boss. We couldn't have that team, yeah, man. Team of the week. 125. I lead everything. Boy, Xhaka move like the real man over Sunderland. I saw the man a boss the game today. Star. Really are going good. The other day, me there look on my predictions of the table. This was my way too early predictions. So me have Liverpool I win the league, Arsenal second, City third, Chelsea fourth, Man U fifth, Villa six, Tottenham seven, Newcastle eight, Nottingham Forest all the way at 9, Everton at 10, Palace at 11, Bournemouth 12, Fulham 13, West Ham 14, Brighton 15. So I hate from Brighton for some reason. Wolves 16, Sunderland 17. So I had them staying up. Brentford, Leeds, and Burnley. Well, them team they can still go down. I don't know if Brentford will go down still. But yeah, Wolves look like them. So basically, I think Leeds and Burnley might go down for real. Wolves, they'll be in the mix. They'll be in the mix. I said the player of the season would be Salah, way off. I said the golden boot would be Haaland. I mean, not really much of a guess there. Young player of the season, I said Morgan Rogers. I guess he's still young enough. And I said Scott Parker or Keith Andrews would be sacked first. So I was wrong. I was wrong on a lot of these things. I mean, still don't know for the season if I'll be wrong, but I like to give myself some credit for putting Manu so high. And this was before the whole heap of transfers to, so I really should have redone this at least when the transfer window ended, but I never bother. So Jaguars, you had Arsenal winning, Liverpool second, City third, Chelsea fourth, Villa fifth. Your relegation teams were Leeds, Sunderland. I think you have Burnley or Brentford. I think. Something like that. Yeah, man. Nice. We see one of the things before the season starts, and see how many people actually pretty damn close. So Red Skull did have Wolves, but we did have Brentford and Crystal Palace in there for relegation. CC did have Wolves in his too, so that's good. They were the only two that they think Wolves would have been in problems again. So I have to respect it. Yeah, man, them looking at them crystal ball, man. And figure it all out. What a man can get predictions wrong. So Duke is Duke referring to himself, I think, there. Or him talk about CC. No, but CC never do three bad. CC are one of the few who say, I remember say what CC say go win the league though. CC did say Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, United. So did have them in them top 5. Not bad. What Duke did say? Oh, Duke never give me none for the season. What? So you said Dukeland did have one of them, yeah? Dukeland runner from the season prediction, but don't see it. Duke a joker, man. Sunderland just give Arsenal the win, I beg. Red Skull, we now have to beg, man. Don't beg feet, man. You can just get it. I got all my predictions 100 correct so far. Yeah, man. I hear predictions, so them the most 100%. I hear predictions, so you can't get them wrong. Hey, I'm a master of the English language as well, all right? Anyway, Duke, big up yourself. Your jokes were perfect to end off the show, but it is the end, people. Another week in the books, week 10. Arsenal top of the table, 6-point lead, but doesn't really matter what the lead is after week 10. It matters what it is after week 38. Remember that, Arsenal fans. One game at a time, don't make people dry out. It's not ours to lose, it's ours to win. Remember that. Big up BBK Sports, my teeth that one day. Anyway, people, I'm Jason Gooner. This is Jason Gooner TV. And until Friday night, people, when we have the preview show, big up on yourselves. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, wrong side. Come on, you Gooners. Our blood now.